Hey, everybody. It is me, Rev Wendy, and we are here with another bonus speaker. The response to the Awakened Heart of the Mother virtual event has been so huge that I felt called to expand the speakers. So today I want to share with you Dr. Jasmine Therese Esguerra. She is a chiropractor and she uses chiropractic care to improve the health and wellness in all of patients' lives, whether they're having problems with back pain or neck pain, or just want to start feeling better when they wake up in the morning. Dr. Esguerra takes a whole person approach in chiropractic care, which means looking for the underlying causes of disease, which we've been talking a lot about with the guests, discomfort and pain, as opposed to just treating the symptoms. So put your hands together and help me welcome to the stage Dr. Jasmine. And the crowd goes,
Wendy.
yeah. Hello.
I didn't realize how tan I looked until I was on. It's like,
You look
I thought I'd
wonderful.
been indoors more, but I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. So you and I were supposed to connect 9 years ago.
Isn't that
Right?
wild?
Yes.
No accidents, right? That it happened now.
No, and leadership, and when we're ready to get a bigger message out, I just felt
Had more that our containers were able to hold, right? I learned in this journey of permission to embody my own influence, I learned a lot about vibration and about energetically being able, because we can catch a vision, and if we're not able to hold it, then we don't hold it. But there's no missed opportunities. So it's just really the opportunity to remember again, to continue to do that inner work. I know that you are a healer and a light worker and a mom. So this particular topic about the awakened heart of the mother, I know we really connected on that, and about creating a powerful legacy. What would you say your journey has been regarding self-worth and value?
oh my goodness. Yeah. Self-worth and value. I think if you go to the beginning, right, to the very beginning, I remember being very bold and very excited about being on a microphone. Just as a child, I loved being on the microphone and singing and holding my baby. And then I went through challenges between. I think that whole hero's journey of realizing some challenges that I feel have made me stronger. All of them now, I can look at it all as a gift now. That going through a heartbreak, not really being educated as far as just sexual education in college. I remember thinking, God will bless me with a child when it's time, and not really, not knowing about contraception, not knowing about planning and preparing for your husband. A lot of it was just so ethereal and fantasy. And and then now I have 3 daughters who are in college, and championing for them has really meant for me embracing all that is. I grew up around very strong women. My mom was a very strong woman. My grandmother, very strong, and my mother has 8 sisters. And just we had this real courageous story. My grandmother was orphaned at 8 years old in the Philippines, World War II, and
Wow.
she was my influence as a healer at home. She learned because she wanted to help my mom, who was epileptic,
Oh,
and so I just the beauty and the gift that I was a child of a woman who was epileptic and felt really fragile, and ended up being the only healer really who's been practicing my grandmother's work. And and then found out that I was from a lineage of healing women on Maui. And now I'm living on Maui.
Wow.
And I know. So this divine, I woke up to really trusting divine timing, really trusting our lineage will deliver its gifts in perfect timing. Even in my growing up, I remember surrendering painting and different things that I associated with pain or my father's lineage when I wasn't close to him. And then I have daughters and I see these perfect gifts moving forward in them. I thought, well, there they are, beautiful artists. And um, so many things that I had buried, they came back up as seeds in my children who didn't
Mm,
have the emotional baggage.
right.
And I thought, and even my mom too. My mom wanted to be a doctor. My grandmother wanted to be a doctor. It was a challenge for them. And then I had two daughters in school and was pregnant with my third 2 weeks into practice, into
Wow.
my own practice, and all these perfect that perfect timing. Yeah. So yeah, just I can go on, but I, as far as empowering and my lineage, at 20 years old, that I was told right after my grandmother passed away that I was from a lineage of healing women. And she had just passed away. We were grieving. I was told that room filled with my lineage of healing women, and all I knew was my grandmother.
Mm,
And we even have a restaurant here that was named by a Philippine chef, a famous Philippine chef, that's called Lineage. So when you talk about lineage and legacy, it's so great. I can go on about how I really feel we're seeding for the next generation.
mhm,
I feel like I say it's like these cross links, like the necklaces. My
mhm.
grandmother and me, and then my daughter and my mother, and then there's a link. Like, so we birth, and then the link. Then I'm linked to my grandmother. I'm the last of her seed on the earth that was alive, and then my mom connects with my daughters as the last of her seed, and then it just keeps going. So
That's
sometimes
really
there's a disconnect. Yeah.
so beautiful because just a couple of weeks ago, I had a conversation with this beautiful soul named Michelle Bleckner. And it was a day before her 80th birthday. And she is a family constellations practitioner. And she shared something with me. I've always believed in terms of healing that you heal 7 generations in front
Yes.
and 7 generations behind when you undergo and undertake your own healing. And Michelle said to me, she further widened that lens for me because she said that when I was in my mother's womb, my grandmother's eggs were inside of me
Yes.
already for the first 4 months of my,
Yes.
I'm not sure why it's just the first 4 months, but it was so fascinating to me because I never knew my maternal or paternal grandmothers.
Oh,
So it was really
yeah.
fascinating to hear that. No, they both, my mother's mother died when my mother was 19, and my dad's mom died when I was 3 months old. So
Oh.
I never got to meet. I'm sure my dad's mom saw me, but I never got to really be with her. So that child grandmother bond is really beautiful and very strong, very powerful.
Mhm. And I also remember when I moved to back to the Bay Area in 2011, around 2011 or 2013. My daughter was going to a Waldorf school, and I remember thinking, gosh, I just really want to tap into this grandmother energy, just this intuitive knowing,
Mm.
this grandmother energy. And then I meet my daughter's teacher, and she happens to have worked with the 13 grandmother team and has a picture of the 13 grandmother gathering and had a huge gift on the wall from them and all the gifts from each of the 13 grandmothers. And I thought, this, yeah, we literally, we speak and we receive. So what are we willing to genuinely ask for it from our heart? That's a connection from our directly from our heart, our hearts speak, and what are we willing to receive? And more the science is backing abundance is from the heart, healing is from the heart. You know, the communication, this um, intuitive communication that we have is all heart based.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this higher wisdom that taps into our higher mind. Our heart and our higher mind are interconnected and are bringing and creating and communicating for us even before we enter the room.
So profound. It's so profound what you're speaking to, because as you were talking, I was having this image of, let's say, a medicine person who doesn't even speak your same language,
mm-hmm.
but they communicate through their
Yes,
heart to you,
yes,
right?
yes. And I have to say, as far as empowering, I remember when I was just waking up to more of my shamanic or healing lineage, and I moved to the Bay Area, these premonitions that I'd have. I think the biggest thing that I sort of wish that I was prepared for, that but it happened anyway and was confirmed, was in my dream state. I I went through so many deaths. You know, I was seeing people, I was seeing children killed, mothers killed, all these different things. And as a healer, I really feel it was important because I was just about to start helping people cross over. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have that training. So part of the message also when I was on Maui, when I was 20 years old, was that my grandmother was on my side and she was in tears because she didn't teach me because she didn't know who she was.
Ah,
and and I think, and I know so much of her teaching me happened when she crossed over. So even if she wasn't here in the physical, I'm really grateful that those lessons, I'm sure your grandmothers have still spoken to you, found a way, even though they didn't get to physically hold you. So much information is transferred by holding and touch.
yeah.
Yet I really feel and experienced wisdom coming through the other side. I have patients, even within the last year, who said they met my grandmother, who leave in tears after a conversation with her. They have a heart conversation with my grandmother.
Isn't that
Um,
amazing?
yes, yes.
So amazing. It's so in keeping, though, with the wisdom of the mother, that opportunity to tap into and integrate within our being the heart of the mother. When we think of the great mother, there are no perfect mothers, but that archetype and that experience of being a mother and to mothering yourself so you can be a better mother to your children. You can't give what you don't have. If
Mm-hmm.
there's at some point there's gonna be like a breaks.
Mm-hmm.
So
And, mhm.
yeah.
And I'd really like to speak to another thing that happened. I had gone to an event called Body. Oh, wait, let me see. Body Electronics with Robert Tennyson Stevens. I don't know if you've heard of this science at all, but we prepare
Body
for the
talk.
body electronics, and he has the whole university on conscious language, and he had us prepare for the event with high doses of minerals, and we took in these high doses of minerals to wake up our electronic body. And at this event, you had someone holding points on your feet, one on each foot, one on each hand, and then one either on your mid area or your body or your head. And everyone's holding these points with the intention of your awakening and your healing. And they're little crystals that were under everybody's finger that were blockages to your electronic, to your awareness. And as your body heated up, it melted, and the wisdom within those crystals was embodied in you.
Ooh, I love that.
It was awesome. And I just have to say that what was surprising for me was this awareness, this awakening and connecting with the Divine Mother, the Mother Earth. And just what I heard from her was that, and I just was in so many tears. I said to you, why do you rape me when I'm so willing to give you everything I have? You know, why? I give you everything I have. There's nothing I hold back from you. There's nothing I withhold from you. You have more than you need. So the heartbreak that she had of the whole hoarding and hurting each other, when there's more than enough, there's no reason for us to gripe or fight, and there definitely wasn't any reason for anyone to go without.
Right.
So I embodied that. So we talk about embodying this influence and this awareness, and just if we get quiet enough, I mean, even in my chiropractic world and chiropractic awareness, I see the chiropractic work and working with the spine as working with our antenna.
Yes, that's how, exactly. That's what I perceive. Yes.
Yes, and that's why I went into my technique is actually called Living Love, and it stands for Light Organizing Vibrational Energy, or the light of victory embodied. And
Mm.
love is really, it was more realizing that so many of our postural distortions were from holding our heart back, or holding our throat back, or being stuck in a posture of injury when it's long gone and there's no reason to hold that posture anymore. So to
Yeah.
hold someone, yeah, it's a whole thing to hold someone past their injury. And you spoke about trauma. You know, we heal that deeper generational trauma when we're willing to expand past all of the stories
Mm.
and go into
You,
our heart and mind, our higher mind and our heart. When we tap into that and the body goes into waves, or we're in meditation, we go above the story of hurt. You know, there's connecting to this universal oneness and this light that is bigger than any story. And when you come from this state, there's nothing that you're missing.
yeah. Beautiful. And Mother Earth holds it all. She's her energy body. She just holds it all. Even when she feels assaulted, she has this wisdom. There's to me, there's like a regeneration energy, regenerative energy that she also holds for everyone to come forward and to remember. Because the human species is different than the land, right? The land, we know when we look throughout history, we see what humans have done, the ego of the human that has destroyed the land comes back. So I feel like we are at such a pivotal time in the existence of our species where we have the opportunity to, with more heart, embody ourselves, embody the wholeness that is our true nature, recognize who we are, recognize our interconnectedness with everything. The fact that your grandmother communicates to your clients is such a demonstration of the interconnectedness
Mm-hmm.
of all life. And the indigenous wisdom, I mean, quantum science is just really validating what the ancient mystics knew. They just may not have had the language. So we have this smorgasbord that's available, this buffet before us,
Yes.
and we want to raise it up, which is where the awakened heart of the mother comes in, because she is the influence. Unless she's got mental illness or addiction, or she's not really able to be there for the child, the mother's influence on girl children is profound.
Yes. And the heart of the woman is so much more at peace when she feels protected and provided for and nourished. You know, there's that masculine element of of provision and protection, and our sovereign sons, loving our boys, loving our men, and
Yes.
realizing that we're here for them too. And I remember speaking to in a relationship before. I thought, isn't it so interesting, this yin and yang? So I love that my husband will protect and cover me, and then in intercourse, right? So we're enveloping them. And at first, before that, when they were in our womb, mother covers child, and then so
Mm.
so it goes back and forth of male covering female, then female covering male, then male covering female, then female covering male, and just realizing, being willing to do this dance of protecting and providing for each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's so interesting to the time that we're living in. I mean, I love that image that you just created with the male and the female, and then I think about the male, and I think about the female male, the female relationship, and then we widen it. It's a whole different conversation than what this event is about. But then we widen it into the pronouns and the all that's happening with birthing people and breastfeeding people, and trans, and this whole thing that's happening for kids as young as 3 and up.
My goodness, yeah. Yeah.
So we're living in extraordinary times.
Yes, yes. And then the heart of a woman. I just, my daughters grew up with this practice of and
Uh-huh.
um, heart math and brain gym, where they would
Uh-huh.
hold their heart, and then they would think about what they're grateful for, and it would expand their outer field. And that's what I'm working with, more than just, in addition to working with the spine, I'm working with the outer fields of the body, so that the body can feel safe. I said, it's like their container, their aquarium, right?
I
So
love that.
where they have, it doesn't matter how clean and healthy a fish is if the bowl is dirty, and or the bowl doesn't have what it needs, right? So realizing this, creating this safe bubble, and then the more we practice our heart centeredness and our heart wisdom and our heart healing, the bigger our heart gets, the bigger our heart awareness gets, and awareness of our space gets. So I tell people, there are people who practice love, and, the whole power versus force, where here we are, Jesus is making an effect on us, and he's many generations past,
Right.
way past my grandmother, right? Definitely affected my grandmother.
2,000 years, over
Yeah,
2,000 years.
2,000 years, his love is enduring and creating miracles when we tap into the vibration of that. We can see, we say Jesus' name, and it creates peace in my own heart. Some
Mm.
people say Kuan Yin, some people say Allah, some people say other things, but basically they're speaking from their heart, and they're resonating with that tone of their heart. Yeah.
Right. The energetic vibration,
Mm-hmm.
like Hawkins did the
Mm-hmm.
testing of Yeshua. I like to call him Yeshua or Yeshua, right? Ben Joseph. So we tested, and he was off the charts
Yes.
because he was such an avatar. He was such an enlightened being. And his message is, all that I can do, you can do more. Like, I've
Yes.
come here to show you what is possible. And when you see me, you see the one who sent me.
Amen.
And that's, to me, what this event is about. Like,
Amen. That's
you,
exactly it. That's exactly
right?
it. So this is what drew your heart forward and drew my heart forward. That we're reading about these miracles Jesus did in the Bible, and I'm thinking, and we're supposed to do better. We better get to work.
Right?
Like, we better
Right.
start talking
Yeah.
and connecting as a human body. What can we do or as a Holy Spirit, as a kingdom body? What can we create when we all work together? When he says, "You are all my body." Right? So what can we do? We're meant to work together. That's why we feel each other. That's
Yeah.
why we care for each other.
Yes.
And I, I give credit to Sacred Brotherhood and how they stand for each other. And there's just something, like, you put a group of women together, I'll nurture any baby. Just put a baby near me, and it melts my own heart. There's no break to that. So What would happen truly if we awakened the heart of the mother? If we let her heart loose, what would happen? There wouldn't be a sick child. There wouldn't be a hungry child. There wouldn't be a sad or worried child. There wouldn't be a sad or worried mother. So,
Well,
right?
yes. No, I think because what we're really talking about is enlightenment, which is when you think. So for everybody who's watching this, I know we're expanding this container a little bit. So just take a deep breath and take in what we're saying. And I invite you to feel the vibration underneath these words that we're speaking rather than the words. Is that you, or do you hear that?
Excuse me, yes, that's passing traffic.
Okay, good. I was like, oh my gosh, am I having technology? It's Mercury retrograde. But the whole so in my teaching, in my belief, it was Christ was not Jesus's last name. It was Jesus the Christ. It was the enlightenment. It was that evolution, that incredible enlightenment that was what allowed him to become Jesus the Christ. And all of us have that Christ nature. We have that Christ consciousness. And when we embody the awakened heart of the mother, we're embodying Christ consciousness. So you can be Jewish, Muslim, agnostic, you can be, Roman Catholic, you can be Greek Orthodox, you can be indigenous. Like it's not religion or religious specific, because it is a body of consciousness.
Yes,
So, right?
yes, yes, yes. And it took Mary's willingness for him to enter.
Yes.
It took her heart saying, God, your will be done. But use me. Are we willing to embody divinity?
Yes.
Are we willing to embody and listen and trust, and even at the cost sometimes of, she was willing to risk being stoned, right?
Right.
And that was the risk of what was going to happen to her. And I wanted to share quickly a story of embodying of an embodiment that I had. So in 2012, I was dying of double pneumonia and pleurisy, and
Your your
truthfully,
your feed is doing something strange, so I couldn't quite catch that. Will you repeat that? You were dying
yes,
of what?
double pneumonia and pleurisy.
Okay.
My uncle had died of lung cancer, and I moved to the Bay Area. And truthfully, it's from my heart being broken and my grieving my
Mm-hmm.
uncle's loss, and feeling and overworking, thinking, well, I'm going to help as many people as I can just in case God's mad at somebody.
Imagining
I,
that.
I, I'm not mad. I love, right? Like,
Right.
like we can love more than God, right? So anyhow, so um, I had just hit this low, and I remember being so sick that I could barely breathe, and I got out of the hot bath, at a eucalyptus bath, and got into my daughter's bunk bed, and I just sent them to be off with their dad. And my hair was sopping wet. I couldn't even dry my hair. I was totally exhausted. And I remember this visual that I had of being exhausted and swimming to the shore and just making it to the shore, and then hearing this boom 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 and feeling the tsunami coming, and thinking, there's no way, I can't, I'm done. I'm exhausted. And I felt this dark spirit come from me, the same spirit that came when I had miscarried one time. And I think, oh no, like, I'm not ready to go yet. I haven't known me yet. My daughters haven't known me yet. And in that moment, I tried to breathe, and it was like breathing through a collapsed straw. And I thought, I can't. And in that moment, I remember saying, I can't go. I can do, but I can heal all things through God who strengthens me. I can do all things through God who strengthens me. And then I said, I am strong. I am healed. And in that moment, I saw, so this I am, these I am statements, I saw this pinpoint white light in the middle of my chest with a glimmer of green. And then I literally heard God, like he blew breath into my lungs. And I saw and I felt like it was like a brush stroke, a wet brush stroke. I felt him paint my lungs as as angel wings in my lungs, and I felt the glory and breath of this peaceful breath, and it felt so good that I thought, if he were to take me, then I would have been fine. It felt so good. And then I had this bright white light in the middle of my third eye that was so bright that I had to squint because it was so bright. And this, and then every cell in my body lit up with this bright white light, and I heard this, and I passed out, and I woke up, and there was no more pneumonia. So like that, and in that moment, I just knew that's what I wanted people to awaken to, that with their own words, they could create their own miracle.
Love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Jasmine. Thank you. That's such a miracle story. I love that. Well,
Yes.
I know you have a gift for us. So I'll make sure that on your speaker bio that everybody has that speaker page. That's such a magnificent story about what compelled you to do and be who you are.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. I know we have many more conversations to have.
Yes, we do. And my gift is going to be an online course for moms. I've been wanting to welcome healing in the home for moms for a long time, and that's what I grew up with. So I'm honored. I'll definitely have that link for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So much. Ooh, so
Wendy,
good.
bless you. Bless your work.
Thank you. You
Happy
as
Mother's
well.
Day, ladies.
Happy Mother's Day. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us. And thank you, Jasmine.
From Maui with love.
From Maui Wowie, but a different kind of Maui Wowie, right? Deep love. Thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye for now. All right, everyone. Wasn't that incredible to hear her story, to hear her opening, what happened in that experience? And that is just such a demonstration that things happened for you and not against you, and that the universe rushes to support your deepest desire, your intention. So you matter. You are heard. You are heard. So I want to remind you before we close that you can have lifetime access and you can listen to Dr. Jasmine's words and her life experience at your leisure and have a time to be with me, a soul alchemy consultation session. So you have all that information, and I want to remind you that you are powerful beyond measure, loved beyond description, and a force for good in the world. So go forth and spread your spread your magic. Your family needs you, the community needs you, the world needs you, and we need you. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today.